All right, so we're diving into The Book Thief today by Marcus Zusak.
Oh, fantastic choice.
I know, right? It's one of those books that just seems to stick with people, and
It really does.
so we're going to try to unpack why that is, explore the characters a bit
Mm-hmm.
and that whole historical setting, Nazi Germany.
Right,
But there's this extra twist.
right.
We're seeing it all through the eyes of death.
Yeah, death as the narrator.
I mean, how often do you get that?
Not very often. And it's such a
Right.
bold choice, I think, by Zusak. It
Definitely.
really grabs you right from the start.
It does, and it sets this tone that's, I don't know, unsettling, but also kind of humorous.
Yeah, there's this weird humor to it. Like,
Yeah.
he's this detached observer,
Uh-huh.
but then you also get these moments where he's clearly moved by what he sees.
Exactly. It's like he's got this front row seat to human drama,
Yeah,
and he can't help but be affected by it.
right.
Even though he's supposed to be this, impartial collector of souls.
Yeah.
And his voice, his actual voice, is so unique.
It is.
He talks about seeing colors before humans do.
Right, right.
And he's got these little, facts about life and death. And there's
Yeah.
this one line in the prologue I love
Oh, yeah, tell me.
where he says he's attempting to be cheerful
Oh, yeah.
about the whole death thing.
I remember that.
It's like he's winking at the reader.
Yeah,
You know?
totally.
Like, hey, I know this is kind of messed up, but
Exactly. Like, he's aware of the irony of it all.
yes.
Yeah.
So why do you think Zusak chose death as the narrator?
I think it adds this whole other layer to the story.
Yeah.
It makes you think about death differently. And it also just really sets the tone, like we were saying.
It does.
It's both unsettling and strangely comforting at the same time.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And I think it also allows us to see the characters in a different light.
How so?
Well, because death is this impartial observer,
Right.
he's not judging them, he's just presenting their stories.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And that allows us to empathize with them even more.
That makes sense.
Even the characters who might seem unlikable at first.
So it's like he's giving them a fair shake,
Exactly.
which is kind of ironic considering.
Right, because he's deaf.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that brings us to Liesel Meminger, our book thief.
Oh, Liesel.
Her journey is it's really something.
Yes.
Evacuated from her family, traumatized by her brother's death,
Yeah.
ends up on Hamel Street with these foster parents who are, well,
Let's just say they're a unique pair.
that's one way to put it.
Yeah, you definitely get a sense of them being hardened by life. But there's also this underlying love, I
There you
think.
jump down. Yeah.
Especially with Hans, the foster father.
And the first book she steals, The Gravedigger's Handbook.
Oh, that's such a symbolic choice, isn't it?
It is. It's like this guide to burying the dead
Mm-hmm.
becomes her companion
Right.
as she's trying to make sense of this world filled with loss.
Exactly. Like, it's helping her process everything that's happening around her.
Yeah, it's like she's drawn to words, even if they're about death,
Right.
as a way to cope.
Yeah, it's fascinating how Zusak uses that motif throughout the book.
He does.
The power of words.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Rosa, the foster mother.
Oh, Rosa.
Tough love doesn't even begin to describe her.
No, it does.
All that yelling and name-calling.
But I think it's important to remember the context here, right?
Yeah.
They're living in incredibly difficult times,
Uh-huh.
and Rosa's way of showing affection
Yeah.
is through that gruffness.
It's like a defense mechanism.
It is. It's her way of protecting herself.
Absolutely, yeah.
From getting too attached, from getting hurt.
It's definitely a bark worse than her bite situation.
Absolutely.
And in the midst of all this, Liesel finds a friend in Rudy Steiner,
Oh, Rudy, yeah, he's such a great character.
the boy with lemon-colored hair,
Always up for an adventure.
always by her side.
Their friendship is one of the best parts of the book, I think.
It's so pure and innocent.
Yeah, and it's so important for Liesel, especially given everything she's going through.
Absolutely. They have these little adventures, stealing apples, getting into scrapes.
Yeah, like that encounter with the local bully, Arthur Berg.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
It's moments like those that remind you of the resilience of children,
Yeah.
how they find joy even in the darkest of circumstances.
It's that contrast, right? The innocence of childhood.
Against the backdrop of war.
Exactly. It's really powerful.
Yeah, and it provides these little breaths of fresh air for the reader.
Amidst all the heavier
For
themes.
sure.
And then you have Hans Huberman, Liesel's foster father.
Ah, Hans, he's such a good man.
On the surface, he's this quiet painter,
Yeah, unassuming.
but he's got this hidden depth.
He does.
A past shrouded in courage and kindness.
Mm-hmm.
his backstory with Eric Vandenberg during World War I.
Oh, that's such a powerful part of the book.
It is. Eric teaches him to play the accordion, saves his life.
And then that act of kindness comes back around.
Years later, when Hans decides to shelter Max.
Eric's son.
Yeah, it's like this ripple effect of one good deed leading to another.
It is. It's beautiful.
And it shows the impact that even small acts of kindness can have.
Absolutely. And the risks that people were willing to take.
To help others during that time.
Yeah, it's really inspiring.
It is. And that brings us to Max Vandenberg.
Max, hiding in the Huberman's basement.
Can you imagine the weight of that?
It's hard to even fathom.
A young Jewish man.
Haunted by nightmares, struggling just to exist.
And Liesel, who's discovering the power of words and stories.
It's an interesting juxtaposition, isn't it?
It is. Their bond is so strong.
Especially those scenes where Liesel reads to Max.
It's like she's bringing him back to life with her words.
Exactly, and he clings to those stories.
As a way to hold on to his own identity.
There's this one line where Max describes himself as dissolving in that basement.
Oh, I remember that.
It's so powerful, so evocative.
It really captures his fear and desperation.
Yeah, Zusak's use of language is just incredible.
It is. He really knows how to get under your skin.
And speaking of words, their power is such a major theme throughout the book.
Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Zusak explores how words can be used for both good and evil.
Yeah, we see it in the Nazi propaganda machine.
How language is twisted to incite hatred and fear.
But then we also see it in Liesel's love of reading and writing.
How words become her solace, her way of connecting with Max.
And defying the darkness around her.
Right, it's like this constant battle between the power of words to destroy and the power of words to heal.
And Max himself uses words as a weapon against hate.
With his story, the word shaker.
Yes. That illustrated story he creates for Liesel.
It's such a powerful allegory.
About the dangers of silence and the importance of speaking out against injustice.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, words can be a source of hope.
And resistance.
And connection.
It's a really important message, especially given the historical context of the book.
I agree. And as the war escalates, its impact on Himmel Street becomes undeniable.
You can feel the tension building.
Yeah, from air raids and blackouts
to food shortages and the constant fear of being discovered.
Life on Himmel Street is irrevocably changed.
It's like the walls are closing in.
Exactly, and the characters are forced to confront the true cost of war.
Both physically and emotionally.
Yeah, it's a turning point in the story.
Where everything starts to unravel.
And the stakes get even higher.
Yeah, and then there's that scene with the Jews marching to Dachau.
Oh, man.
It's just gut-wrenching.
It is. It's one of those moments where you just have to pause and really take it in.
Yeah.
The dehumanization, the brutality of it all.
It's hard to read.
It is, but it's important.
It is.
Zusak doesn't shy away from depicting the horrors of the Holocaust.
No, he doesn't.
But he does it in a way that feels respectful and deeply affecting.
I think that's what makes it so powerful.
Yeah.
He doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
But he also doesn't exploit it.
Right. It's a delicate balance.
And it's in those moments that you see the real cost of hatred and prejudice.
Yeah, you see how it can twist people, how it can turn neighbors against each other.
And it's also where Hans' compassion really shines through.
Oh, absolutely.
That impulsive act of kindness.
Offering bread to a starving Jewish man in the parade.
I mean, talk about a small gesture with huge consequences.
Right. He's labeled a Jew lover, publicly humiliated.
And his past act of sheltering Max comes under scrutiny.
It's terrifying to think about the risks he was taking.
It is, but it also shows the incredible courage and empathy
that
some people had during that time.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times,
there's still good in the world.
Exactly.
And amidst all that darkness, you still see glimmers of hope.
You do.
Liesel's love for words continues to grow.
And she finds a new connection with Ilsa Hermann,
the mayor's wife.
Yeah, she's grieving the loss of her own son.
And she sees a kindred spirit in Liesel.
She does.
Gives her access to her library.
Oh, the library.
It's like this sanctuary, a world of forbidden books where Liesel can escape the harsh realities of war.
It's a beautiful metaphor, isn't it?
It is. It shows how knowledge and imagination can offer a form of resistance.
A way to preserve your humanity even in the most oppressive environments.
But even that safe haven is threatened.
When Liesel accidentally reveals the Huberman's secret to Ilsa.
Oh, I know. That scene had me on the edge of my seat.
Me too.
It's a reminder of how fragile their situation is.
How easily everything could crumble.
And it also shows how words, while powerful, can also be dangerous if used carelessly.
Right. They have consequences.
They do.
Especially in such a volatile environment.
And then comes the bombing of Himmel Street.
Oh, that's just devastating.
A turning point in this story.
Absolutely.
A moment of absolute devastation.
So many lives lost.
Rudy and his family.
It's heartbreaking.
It is a visceral reminder of the indiscriminate nature of war.
How it can shatter lives in an instant.
Zusak doesn't hold back. He forces you to confront the loss, the grief, the sheer randomness of it all.
And yet, even in the wreckage, Liesel survives.
Clinging to the one thing that has always brought her comfort.
Words.
She finds Max's illustrated story, the word shaker.
Oh, that's such a powerful symbol.
It is. It becomes a testament to the enduring power of language.
Its ability to inspire hope, even in the face of unimaginable tragedy.
And as Liesel navigates life after Himmel Street, she carries those stories with her.
She does.
She finds a new home with Ilsa, continues to write.
And eventually she's reunited with Max.
Who miraculously survives the war.
I know. I was so relieved when that happened.
Me too. It's a testament to the strength of human connection.
And the power of hope.
To endure even the darkest of times.
Yeah, that reunion is so powerful.
It is. It brings a sense of closure.
But also a bittersweet reminder of all that's been lost.
Exactly.
It's a complex mix of emotions.
It is. And of course, we can't forget about death.
Our ever-present narrator.
He circles back at the end.
Collects Liesel's soul many years later.
But he returns her story to us.
The book thief.
As a reminder that you and your human existence are worth it.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is. It's like he's acknowledging the fragility of life.
But also its inherent value.
The importance of cherishing each moment, each connection, each story.
It's a beautiful sentiment.
It is.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to the heart of what makes this book so special.
I agree.
It's beautifully written, emotionally resonant.
And full of thought-provoking themes.
It's no wonder it's become a modern classic.
If you haven't experienced The Book Thief yet,
I highly recommend it.
It's a journey worth taking. Makes you think about death in a whole new way.
It does, right? Like having death as this narrator, it kind of makes you see the characters in their stories through this different lens.
It's like he's giving us a glimpse into the afterlife.
Almost.
And showing us how even death can be touched by human experiences.
And it's not all doom and gloom either.
Right. There's this surprising amount of humor and even tenderness in his voice.
Like he's not this scary figure.
Yo.
He's more like this wise observer who's seen it all.
Exactly.
And he's sharing these stories with us, not to frighten us, but to remind us of what truly matters.
I think that's what makes this book so powerful.
Yeah.
Zusak manages to tackle these really heavy themes.
Loss, grief, the horrors of war.
Right. But he does it with such sensitivity.
And humanity.
That it doesn't feel overwhelming or depressing.
It's like he finds this perfect balance.
Yeah.
Between the darkness and the light.
The tragedy and the hope.
And it's all woven together so seamlessly.
It's what makes The Book Thief such a compelling read.
And ultimately uplifting.
It reminds us that even in the face of unimaginable suffering, the human spirit can endure.
That love, compassion, the power of words can offer solace, resistance, even redemption.
And it leaves you with this sense of gratitude for the simple gifts of life.
Like friendship and family.
And the ability to read.
To tell stories.
To connect with others.
It's a reminder that those things are what truly matter.
What make life worth living.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So if you haven't already,
add The Book Thief to your reading list.
It's a journey you won't forget.
Absolutely. And for more deep dives into fascinating books and ideas,
be sure to subscribe to our channel.
We love exploring these topics with you, so until next time.
Happy reading!